Hello, everyone. This is a breaking news broadcast here for the Tesla earnings call that is upcoming tonight. Even if you see it tomorrow, I think I can provide a very helpful short-term, mid-term, and long-term outlook of Tesla shares with all these risk factors involved right now, like the election and many other things. Robotaxi, FSD coming up. So what is going on? How do we think about the stock? And what do I do to de-risk or go all in for earnings? So let's take a quick look. I want to start with a macro situation here. Where are we situated in the market right now? Obviously, we have the elections coming up. There is a huge bet Elon is doing on Trump winning, and let's see how this pans out. We will look a little bit later in the video at Polymarket and see what people are actually thinking who's going to win. What is clear for Tesla is, at this point, a losing Trump would be bad for Tesla and Elon because he's betting a lot on this whole outcome. And Kamala is not happy, and the Democrats, with Elon. So if that happens, we know there will be repercussions. There is a risk here. So what does it mean that we have a risk here? I don't think people are very happy to jump all into the stock in this moment in time before November 5th. Why would you? Why would you take this risk? Right? So I think there is generally a slightly bearish or not positive effect on the stock right now to not go all in on Tesla before we know what the outcome here is. And that's just a couple of weeks away. The next thing is Robotaxi Day and what is happening there. So we saw that the Robotaxi Day had a lot of excitement of the fan base, but also a lot of disappointment for the analysts because it was very scarce on details. So in earnings today, the question is, will Tesla provide more details about the exact rollout? Here's my prediction. I do not think so. I think there will be a little more coming in, but Elon is going to say, well, next year we have some plans. We think we will be live in some cities. I do not think we will get hard catalysts where he says this city and this city and this city will be rolled out on March 1st, on July 1st, on October 1st. I don't think that's going to happen. No real timetable, which will again be a slight disappointment on the FSD timeline. We have all read in the news that Palo Alto, the hometown of Tesla, is thinking about rolling out robotaxis. But this is still very unbaked. It's not helpful for Wall Street analysts to actually put in timetables and money, right? So we are still in a gray area here. And I'm waiting for really this hard catalyst on FSD where we clearly know, okay, now it's going to happen. Here's the price, here's the trajectory, and here's the exact date of rollout. I don't think we are going to get this today. So election, high risk, Robotaxi continues to disappoint in terms of providing real meat. The actual margins for the EV business and energy, I think we can expect that these margins won't look great. We know that Tesla seems to try to accelerate demand for Q4. It seems to me that with these new incentives that we heard yesterday and a few days ago, 0% APR and some other things, that's good for demand. It's bad for margins also going forward in Q4. It seems like Tesla is trying to get to their 1.8 million sales this year to have a year-on-year not shrinking revenue stream, which might be smart, but will be more pressure on margins. So short term, I don't see how this is all very good for the stock. So what is the bigger picture here? These are three effects on the stock that are all negative short term: election, Robotaxi, unclear timelines on the short term, and the margins. The outlook I see is that we are in this transition from EV and an auto business into an AI business and robotics business, which is amazing. That excites us all very much. We know it's a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity on FSD. I personally believe it's an uncapped $100 trillion opportunity on robots. Right now, people think it's 20 trillion. I think there is no cap on it when you think about it. But that's a long-term plan. I don't think that long-term. I will go into this in a second. I think it's actually 24 months or something, not even 4 years, 5 years, when we actually see these inflection points coming. But short-term, I don't see any catalyst in the next 3 months for the stock. So I see like a 24 months path where it's safe to say end of 2026. I think it's safe to say that we will see real inflection points for Optimus and FSD, but we don't know when between now and end of 2026. I think it will mainly happen in 2026, not even in 2025. But I do think if you get lucky, 2025 will see the first commercial deployment of FSD of some sort, and it will see the first commercial sale of Optimus of some sort, small pilot sales, which could be enough to really create a catalyst because everyone knows what's coming. So I think that's very interesting. And what we have to think now is like, what does it all mean in the short term? If you think about earnings today, I think there is just no real reason I can come up with to buy the stock on a 3 to 6 months horizon, right? If I had to bet where Tesla is in 3 months, end of the year, if I have to make a bet where it's in 6 months, let's say in March in 2025, would I bet a lot of money Tesla being higher than now? No. I absolutely see scenarios where we go back down even to 140, if the markets tank a little bit, if Kamala wins, right? There are all kinds of problems. And there's no real reason to buy the stock short term. At least not a reason I see. There's maybe the launch of a cheaper vehicle, but maybe not. Maybe that takes longer than Q1 next year. And so as a short-term person, you would say, why would I buy the stock? I don't see what's coming that would drive that stock up like crazy in the next 3 months or in Q1. That could be guaranteed. In Q1, it becomes a little bit more likely that something is going to happen, like a cheaper car announcement, for example, or the new Model Y. But maybe that even takes longer than Q1. So I think no real reason why the stock goes up. A lot of reasons why it could sell off. And the election introduces just significant risks over the next 2 weeks. Why buy the stock? So this is all bad short term. That's why I am de-risking. But what we also see for long-term investors, we are in a tremendously powerful situation long term. Let me explain to you why there are like 3 major things happening. We are talking trillions of dollars in each instance that are all fully positive for Tesla. Let's start with the most conservative area of Tesla's business, which is the auto business. I said before that I think the OEMs, the traditional automakers, they will go out of business en masse starting in 2026. This whole industry is hitting a giant wall. There will be nothing left. Tesla is going to take it all over together with the Chinese. Internal combustion engines will cease to exist, and it will start in 2026 when I project this complete inflection point. When you look at the economics of internal combustion engines with decreasing volumes, increasing costs, decreasing margins because of that, while EVs keep getting cheaper and exponentially better. So I think in 2025 it starts. In 2026, it becomes obvious to literally the mainstream and everyone in the car market that it's not smart, that it's literally dumb to not buy an EV. Longer range than gas at this point, cheaper to purchase at this point, and vastly better performance at this point, and vastly lower costs of ownership. So at this point, it becomes impossible to buy gas cars. And then there's a death spiral. The less gas cars you produce, the more expensive it becomes to produce them. And then you completely go out of business. I mean, you see the actual elasticities of these ICE businesses and OEMs in terms of their elasticity and sensitivity to revenue volatility. It's looking very bad. If you decrease Volkswagen's, GM's, and Ford's revenue by 5%, they're toast. Their whole margin relies on certain volumes. If you get down 5%, they're dying. And this is all already happening. So within 2 years, they will all hit a wall. But what does it mean for Tesla? I think the most underrated business of Tesla is the auto business. I know we are transitioning into Optimus and FSD, and these are much larger markets. But the autos, we will see the bottom, the floor falling out of the whole industry, and Tesla taking over the entire industry in two possible ways or three possible ways. I think number one, Tesla just sells way, way, way more cars, especially with the cheaper cars coming. Option number two, the OEMs have to basically cancel their whole drivetrain business and use Tesla drivetrains. They're just going to shift. You will have Tesla inside of all cars. And then BMW and Mercedes, they're doing their seats, they're doing the nice interior, they're doing the branding, but they will all run on Tesla technology. I think that's one possible outcome. The other outcome is they go out of business and Tesla replaces them. And the third outcome is Tesla just buys them for the brand or for the supply chains for the actual luxury items they have, maybe. But in any outcome, Tesla will have a monopoly on drivetrains in the Western world. Why do I say Western world, by the way? I think Trump's likely to win. I think Trump is going to create a regimen of tariffs that makes it impossible for Chinese to come in here. And that means Tesla can take over the entire auto market. And the same is true for the European Union. Then the next big fat thing, long-term, 24 months, of course, is Optimus. And I think Optimus is going to outperform anything that ever happened in humanity on an economic scale. And I'm saying Optimus, not humanoid robots. Because the advantage Tesla has in humanoid robots, people don't even understand remotely how far ahead Tesla is. I'm not going to go into this in this video. Believe me, Tesla is ahead in AI. It's building exponential scale in the actual robotics technology, in sales and marketing, completely unbeatable. And look at the Optimus, what we saw on Robotaxi Day. Look at the hardware. Amazing. And they're just getting started. And then finally, of course, FSD coming next year, I think a first small pilot, and probably getting there in 2026. I'm getting a little more bullish. I was skeptical. I thought it might take until 2027. I am correcting a little, pushing it more forward and say 2026 very likely. So what do we do now? I am heavily de-risked going into these earnings. I don't want to lose money, and I don't see the upside, to be totally honest. I think even if there's a crazy surprise, Tesla goes up 10% to 240, who cares? I'm not missing out. I believe this is a 500 to 1,000 price point in 2026. I said it's a $5,000 stock by 2030, if things goes according to what I think they will go. And the market will understand at this point. So 500 to 1,000, I don't care if I buy it at 220 or 240. I think I have a better chance buying it under 200. And so let's see what happens. Then I want to wait until after the election to look at the stock again and see where we are at. In the meantime, what I'm actually doing is I loaded up pretty heavily on Carmela puts, interactive brokers, forecast event contracts. I did this 10 days ago, roughly, up 20% in 10 days. And I think this will continue above 70% odds of Trump winning before the election. When I look at all the macro effects of the election, all the trends, the candidates, their capabilities, their strategies to win, I'm not talking politics, I'm just talking betting odds. I think, buying Carmela puts here at a 62% odds is still a good deal. Not an amazing deal, not as good as 50% when I bought them, but I think a good deal. And let's see what happens. So I think I'm playing the election fully focused on politics in terms of financial bets. And of course, I'm not betting the house. But if that works, that will give me a nice, if Tesla goes down, Carmela puts go up to 1, hopefully. Then I'm in a very good position of actually buying way more Tesla shares. That's how I think. It's not just about money, it's about how many Tesla shares do you own and how do you maximize your Tesla share ownership. Imagine Tesla goes down, Trump wins, I will own way more Tesla shares in this scenario than owning Tesla before the earnings call and holding through the election. So that's what I'm doing. I hope that was helpful. We will watch the earnings very closely and then see what happens. And yeah, I will have some more videos on this and on civilization building that's coming. And you saw already the first 2. And hope to see you on the other side.